Thank you so much, Noor, for being on today's call. If any of you have any questions while Noor and I are having our conversation today, feel free to add them to the Q&A tab, and we'll get to those at the end of today's call. And yeah, like I said, we'll just be going over some of Noor's experiences and sharing some tips for meeting with congressional leaders. So with that, Noor, I will let you introduce yourself and then we can get going.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Noor Zarbi. I was born and raised in Jordan. I'm 18 years old and I've just recently finished my IBDP program, and I'm going to be going to the UK to study law and politics.
Awesome. Very cool. Where in the UK will you be studying?
I'm going to be at the University of Kent. I was initially going to study politics and IR, as I've told you, but I've decided to change to law and politics, which I will go into as to why I've done these changes later on in the conversation.
Okay, cool. That's exciting to hear. Awesome. Well, I guess first and foremost, what made you interested in global issues?
Well, I think it kind of stems from the atmosphere that I was born and raised in. In my household, we'd always listen to news on a daily basis. So when we wake up in the morning, I'd have breakfast ever since I was a kid, and I would be watching the news, and I'd be flipping from one channel to the other, like the BBC and then Al Jazeera. So I was kind of well acquainted with the global issues that surrounds us, not only here in Jordan, where I'm from, but also across the world. And I really felt that this had made me well aware of what happens around me. And so I've decided to participate in other global MUN conferences through participating at MUN Impact, which is another nonprofit organization that seeks to build well-aware individuals through MUN conferences, and to basically try to let's say improve local engagement within the community. So basically, my experience through within these conferences had basically made me a well-aware individual in terms of the global issues that surrounds me, and particularly I've always been an advocate for the SDGs, and such as gender equality and climate change, as well as poverty as SDG number 1. I've always took the position to basically be a main submitter, where this has enabled me to improve my leadership skills and my communication skills, as well as public speaking. And this made me, it actually improved my ability to speak at congressional meetings, making me more confident with the knowledge that I'm sharing during such meetings. And I've also been able to participate or actually be a workshop presenter myself as part of MUN Impact E3 Summit, where I've took on the role to raise awareness on the issue of climate change, and how we can begin and how we can solve this issue at the individual level by changing our own actions and our own behavior that basically has a large impact on such a global issue.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, and really interesting just in terms of the MUN conferences and kind of how you got involved with that. And I know you share kind of talking about, that conference workshop talking about climate change, and how you kind of realized that, kind of starts with poverty as well. And so how that is definitely related too. So yeah, kind of, along those same lines, why is advocating for global poverty reduction important to you?
Well, yeah, so basically this also kind of is derived from my own personal experiences. So as I've mentioned, I've participated in MUN conferences. I've been a workshop presenter myself. And this really made me know that for us to achieve the issues or to address them that I've been advocating for, such as the SDGs, for us to be able to achieve such issues such as gender equality and climate change, I realized that on the top of every issue is poverty. And so I noticed that that for us to basically achieve the SDGs in time by 2030, we needed to accelerate our efforts towards SDG number 1, especially seeing that, you know, the SDGs are all interdependent, and the fact that poverty is SDG number 1 really just highlights its primacy in addressing our global issues as a global community. So yeah, this basically showcases why advocating for global poverty reduction is really important for me, and how I feel that my participation here at the Borgen Project has enabled me to advance my ability to advocate for such an important cause.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of hit on how global poverty, it's kind of like so many issues fall underneath that umbrella of, you know, why are people impoverished, and how, you know, ensuring that we're reducing global poverty, we're able to also combat and fight, you know, these other issues as well that you know, we're seeing around the globe. So yeah, great. And I know in one of your recent LAVI meetings, you shared information about the overall treatment of girls in Jordan. Could you expand a little bit more on this and share with the group how, you know, these issues really push you to advocate for legislation like the Girls Lead Act and the Keeping Girls in School Act, both bills that we're really prioritizing this year?
Yeah, so here in Jordan, I really feel that the culture in Jordan sort of favors boys' education as opposed to women's education. And while many girls also attend school, it's actually part of government regulations that or the constitution that girls are supposed to attend primary, secondary school. But the problem is, or it was actually showcased with the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, where because parents were unable to afford laptops for all their children, what often happened was that they would favor their boys over their girls, which means that they would give the laptop to the boy so that he can continue his education, while girls would be unable to do so. And many people had tried to advocate towards basically ending this problem on national television, but the problem is that no one was able to reach this issue, and this would basically because of because of the economic situation here in Jordan, where many parents are unable to afford them. And so this really goes also to highlight once more the importance of addressing global poverty, and how it really impacts the slightest factors are related to women, because education is a basic right. And this is just one thing among the other impacts that COVID-19 has impacted women. And another thing I really feel is also important is how basically advocating for the Girls Lead Act and the Keeping Girls in School Act is really important. Is basically in Jordan, I read that in 2017 alone, 10,400 girls were forced into child marriage. And so basically this disrupted their ability to continue their education. So I feel that if we help to advocate towards achieving the Girls Lead Act and the Keeping Girls in School Act, I think this will not only help women here in Jordan, but will also help women across the globe, because this issue is felt across many countries, developing and least developed countries specifically. And so yeah, basically such legislation is important for helping women. And because I really believe in education and how it's sort of like a domino effect, it helps to improve other factors related to human welfare in general, and the development of an economy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's definitely you hear how COVID-19, has affected families, especially, families around the globe and everything like that. But that one example of, just if a family only has one source, one laptop, and multiple children, like what are they going to do? So yeah, very, very interesting. And again, hit on the importance of the legislation, Girls Lead Act, and Keeping Girls in School Act. And yeah, I think Girls Lead Act too, you know, hits on the point of when girls are in leadership positions and when they're able to advocate as well. That's also a way that we can, you know, end and decrease, you know, numbers of child marriages as well. So yeah, really, really interesting. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So next question, what has it been like meeting with congressional leaders, and how do you think the meetings have gone, you know, the ones that you have attended, you know, what has the response been, you know, with staffers and congressional leaders?
Well, yeah, actually, I feel that attending the congressional meeting is really helping me to get the most out of this internship. I feel like it's kind of like the cherry at the top of the cake, because, you know, like it helps me to like supplement all of my knowledge and how basically I'm utilizing what I'm learning from my internship in the congressional meetings. So I feel like I'm really honored to be able to participate in such meetings that basically enable me to in a way advocate and help achieve the vision of the Borgen Project, which is to be an ally for the world's poor. And I feel that, you know, each meeting is actually different from the other, because you never really know how the office is going to respond. So some offices are actually more engaging. Some of them, they would ask you questions, but others, they would just receive the information, which is equally important in terms of achieving the goal of what we're trying to do, and to basically help to advocate for global poverty reduction. I also feel like, so basically in my last meeting, the offices were kind of really engaged. They asked lots of questions, and they also specifically engaged in education for women and how this is really essential for like reducing the issue of global poverty. And so yeah, I feel like the congressional meetings are going really well in terms of the impact that they're achieving. Because while some offices, I remember I had a meeting with an office that was recently in office. So I feel like this is very important in terms of relationship building and to help achieve what the organization seeks to advocate for.
Yeah, that's a great feedback. And again, anyone who is a part of the Borgen Project, whether you are on the political affairs team, or if you're a writer or journalist or on the HR team, we'd love to have you on any meeting. So if you are interested, I'll pop the email address that you can email to let us know that you're interested in participating. I'll drop that in the chat here shortly. But yeah, Noor, that's really great feedback. And sometimes it's so interesting in meetings because you know, yeah, you do have those really engaged offices, and then you also have on the other side kind of the quieter ones who are just kind of taking the information in. And like you said, it's just as important whether it's, you know, you're having a really in-depth conversation or you're just sharing the information, because, you know, those offices who work quieter, they also come back and say, yeah, we really appreciate, you know, what you're you know, what you've shared with us, and then they're happy to support as well. So yeah, I think it's just the importance of sharing that information and educating, you know, our communities, and also educating these congressional leaders who have a bunch on their plate. And a lot of times staffers are like, yeah, it's just in terms of bandwidth that we're not sure, you know, we haven't seen this legislation before or anything like that. So yeah, just making offices aware, I think is really important. And, you know, of course, just sharing your experience and everything like that has been awesome to have you on these calls too. So yeah, anyone else who's interested in joining our lobby calls, please let us know. And like I said, I'll share that information in the chat here. So cool. A couple more questions just wanted to go over with you. I guess along the lines of congressional meetings, what advice would you give for, you know, Borgen Project ambassadors who might be a little nervous just in terms of mobilizing and sharing information with their networks, and then, you know, advocating for these issues that we do?
Well, so basically, when you're participating in the congressional meeting, I remember, so the first one, it was the most one that you feel, you're going to feel nervous because, you know, you don't really know what's going to happen. But then as it moves along and you start participating in a second and maybe a third and a fourth, it really helps you, you know, you become more confident with the knowledge that you're giving, and you sort of build that ability to communicate better with the office. And it also really, sort of when you're like communicating with them, I feel like it's really important that if you are kind of nervous, maybe you should have the information on your screen. That way you wouldn't be have to looking up and down every second. I think that's specifically what I did in like my first meeting, so that I'd be sure not to mess things up. And another really important thing I think is important to share is basically to always like jot down everything that everything that you receive from the meeting, because by the end of the day you need to basically complete the lobbying report form, which is really important in terms of assessing the impact that we're basically achieving through the congressional meetings. So I think it's really important that we sort of like write everything down. It would basically make the process of filling in the form very easy and actually be faster. And one more thing is that if you're feeling nervous, just remember that what you're doing is really for a good cause, and that you should maybe try to transfer that fear with enthusiasm, knowing that you're actually improving the lives of many people across the globe, because what we're doing here, it's actually real impact. So I feel like there's no reason for you to be afraid or scared, because what you're doing is you're being a voice for the world's poor. And you know, if that's the case, then you should really be excited. You should be keen to share your knowledge, and not basically be nervous to, you know, share what you have.
Yeah, that's all really helpful pieces of advice for sure. And yeah, even if you do go into in-person meetings, yeah, feel free to bring notes with you. You don't have to memorize everything or be an expert. Exactly. Again, it's just important that everyone's sharing why they care and why these issues are important. So I think that's great advice. Thank you. Cool. So with that, just wondering, what are your career aspirations, and what, I know you said you planned on studying law and political science in school, but yeah, let's expand on that. I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, so basically the reason why I've decided to, I told you before, I'm going to study politics and IR, but what I've decided to do is, because I want to work at an international organization such as the UN, this is a place where I aspire to work at, because I feel like this would enable me to achieve my my aspirations of being a global citizen, and basically trying to also extend here in my work at the Borgen Project, and to basically work at other organizations also that would basically that are trying to improve the lives of many. And so why I've decided to study law and politics is because I feel like this provides me with the legal foundational like knowledge in order to basically support human rights across the globe, because I feel like with the degree it would enable me to basically build transferable skills that I'm able to use across many other organizations, especially since I've mentioned that I wanted to work at the UN. And basically legal knowledge is really important for you to be able to achieve problem solving, and to basically apply your critical thinking skills and your ethical skills in that basically in your role of conflict resolution and problem solving towards achieving a better future for all. So yeah, I feel like choosing this degree is really important for me to achieve my career aspirations.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm really excited to see, what you accomplish, and kind of see you, see how it goes along the journey, and how you progress. So really exciting. And also just an example of there's so many different ways that you can help out and utilize a career to be able to continue, advocating for these issues and that sort of thing too. So yeah, awesome. So Noor, that's basically all I had for you, but wanted to just ask if there's anything else that you wanted to share with the group.
Yes, certainly. So, as I've mentioned, I really believe in the importance of being a global citizen, and I've always tried to basically align my experiences that I gain, the internships that I participate in, to basically help me achieve that vision that I have into being a global citizen. So, basically, my advice for the rest of the people here attending is that always try to be a global citizen, because by the end of the day, if your goal is in the service of people around you, and how you can use your own voice, and that if you were privileged enough to be able to advocate for other people who are less fortunate, then I really feel that you'd be able to build a life where you'd be able to basically support many people across the globe. And this really highlights for me the importance of being a local citizen. And I know that the Borgen Project has basically helped me to achieve that vision even more, because it gave me the opportunity to act on a global level, especially since I'm part of the content team. So not only am I advocating and raising awareness and the fundraising part of the internship, but I'm also writing articles that will basically be read by many people. I know for one that when I was in my IBDP years, I used to rely on the Borgen Project to basically write my essays, because I really feel that, you know, they have lots of good research and information. And also, in addition to the congressional meetings, this all basically lines up to make you a global citizen. So just make the best out of the internship, because it has some really good benefits to you and to the globe as a whole.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Nora. I loved having this conversation with you. And now, love to open the floor. If anyone has any questions for Nora, feel free to add them to the Q&A tab down below, and we'll take a look at those questions. We'll wait just a minute or two to see what questions you have. And I'll also add in the chat the scheduling email. And my dogs are saying hi, saying hi as well. Of course, they always like to make an appearance at least one during these calls. But yeah, I'll add the scheduling email to the chat, so that if anyone is interested in attending congressional meetings, and you're not a part of the political affairs or the nonprofit leadership team members, yeah, feel free to email scheduling@borgenproject.org. Yeah, that's a great question. So there was a quick question in the chat. Can you attend a Congress call for a district you are not a constituent of? So yes and no, basically. So for our US-based team members, we try our best to get you on a call with your congressional leaders, just because that's where a lot of the power lies, is in your constituency, and being able to, you know, let your congressional leaders know the issues that you care about, so that they can represent you in Congress. They really want to hear from their constituents. But there's also, we have team members all over the world, basically, such as Nora. And so if you are interested, and you're not you know, located in the US, just let us know, and we'll be able to fit you in on some calls as well. And then for those of you who are in the US, and if it's, you know, around week 10 of your programs, and you have yet to attend a lobby meeting and you really want to, just email scheduling@borgenproject.org again, and let us know that your program is wrapping up, and we'll try our best to get you on a meeting with your congressional leader. And if not, just depending on the office's response and when we've met with them last, we can get you in on a meeting that is outside your district. So yeah, we'll do our best to do that. So yes, definitely. Yes, we will be sure to get you on a call. Sometimes it just depends. It ebbs and flows during the week on how many meetings we have. So yeah, we'll definitely let you know how you can attend and what meetings you can attend, for sure. Any other questions? Any questions for Nora? That's okay. We can wrap up just a little bit early then too. So if anyone does have, you know, any questions for Nora, feel free, you can email Nora. I'll give them my email address. You can email me and I will share your questions with Nora and she'll get back to you that way as well. But it's been so fun having this conversation with you. And again, we really appreciate you having on these calls. And you certainly are making that impact that you know are aspiring to make. So we really appreciate you being a part of the Borgen Project. And I hope you know your advice has helped the others on this call today. So thanks everyone so much for attending, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.